another episode of The Game Takes, episode 30, presented by no one, since I still don't have a sponsor. We are going to be talking about a genre that has been blowing up in the last 2 to 3 years, which is Battle Royale genre. Now, there has been Battle Royale games in the past. We go to H1Z1, DayZ. Even people consider Minecraft Hunger Games a Battle Royale. But, you know, and this has made national headlines. This has created many careers. This genre alone has brought gaming into a national attention spotlight, also as a worldwide attention spotlight. Even creating many celebrities like Ninja, Doctor Disrespect, and others due to the games being presented for the Battle Royale genre. So we're going to kind of talk about it and kind of talk about a little bit about its features. First thing we're going to do is we're going to let our guest introduce himself again. And thank God we figured out what the issue was with the party thing.
Hey, this is Psycho Kitty OG. I play Fortnite on PC, on Mixer. So glad to be here. Glad to talk about Fortnite and Battle Royale genre. And yeah, ready to go.
Okay, it works this time. Okay, we're good.
Yep.
So first thing we're going to talk about is the opening title question we're going to be talking about here is what, since it was Valentine's weekend, we usually never talk about how, kind of spice up the questions. This is something that could be a little bit spicy, well, maybe not. So it was Valentine's weekend, love is in the air, considered one of the most lovable holidays ever due to its love aspects. So I'm curious, what was your Valentine's weekend like? Or
Well,
we'll
I
go with weekend. We're not gonna go with day,
okay.
because that's that's a little bit boring.
So I worked on Valentine's Day. I married and my wife did as well. So we just had a little quiet evening at home with the kids. Didn't do anything crazy. Just had a nice evening at home.
Then, did you do any kind of special? Any gifts you have given?
Um,
Did you?
we got each other chocolates. Um, so we don't really go crazy on Valentine's or anniversaries coming up. So we're gonna save our gifts for our anniversary.
Oh, that's creative. I guess that's probably in a couple weeks, a couple days or weeks or so.
It's a week away.
Oh, nice. Um, spend my Valentine's weekend single again.
Oh,
Fortunately, well, that's okay. Hopefully next year will kind of be different. Good thing is I'm feeling more confident as a kind of a person to just kind of be a more social person. Hopefully that because I think feels like one thing I was lacking was kind of the social capability of not being boring and also kind of not well trying to be nice to females because that's something I really never I tr- you know never really thought about too much in the past.
sure.
But hopefully this is a big grasp for me and can really hopefully be helpful in the future when I do meet my special someone. But time will come, and I'm just gonna have to just keep growing as an individual and as a person, um, overall. So the first question I have for you is, what got you really hooked into Fortnite?
What really got me hooked into Fortnite was my kids. They played Fortnite all the time, and I really like the community. The community of Fortnite is strong, and you get to meet a lot of new people and a lot of new faces just by playing Fortnite. So the combination between just getting into it for my kids and being able to get and meet new people in the community it really got me into it.
So when you mention the community aspects, actually, we're gonna ask two things. First thing, what have you ever played a battle royale genre game before Fortnite?
I have played PUBG and Apex. Those are the two that I played prior to playing Fortnite.
Oh, so you started like maybe in 2019, so last year or something like that?
Yeah, I started Fortnite in end of season 9, beginning of season 10 is when I really, and the end of, or start of season chapter 2, actually, this chapter, season 1, is when I really got started. This, yeah, between early 2019 and then early, of course, this year.
Okay, actually, what got since you mentioned PUBG, might as well ask that too. What what got you into PUBG? Just
Um,
might as well.
the only thing that got me into
And
PUBG,
Apex.
honestly, was it looked more real. It looked like a realistic game. PUBG did. Apex because it was futuristic. I like futuristic sci-fi type games. Um, but I still drew back to Fortnite. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but I really like this game. Um, PUBG, I honestly don't really care for it too much. I feel like it's too slow paced. Then Fortnite, I like fast paced games. Apex, I just kind of get out of it.
No, yeah, it's I'll probably explain my story since though I'm not really invested into this genre that much, I might as well. Back in, Fortnite released back in September 2017, I played, some of my school buddies, said, oh, there's this game called I See Him Play Fortnite. It's like, oh, it's a new popular, it started growing up, when the Battle genre released in September 2017, started playing,
Hmm.
and it was very fascinating first game. I spent maybe, I was playing 2K at the time, I think 2K at that time, and it was like, I had to go to school, it was Sunday night, so I had to go to school, so I didn't have a lot of time to play. Um, and I wanted to, so I got into my first game, playing squads, and the first game land I played was like, wait, why is my screen all black? So it was pitch dark. Like imagine if what we see right now is just pitch dark, but you can still see the objects. That was my
Okay.
whole experience.
Wow.
So I was like, wait, what? And then it's like, wait, I'm not gonna. This game is broke. This game ain't gonna work. Why is this piece of crap not working? So then it happens, and then still played it, still gave it another chance, and I started really grinding again. Um, but didn't really still have the long-term effect, and then got really into it. Um, as we kind of got further into the school year and stuff. Especially when it was like season 3 and 4.
Mhm.
That's when I started first getting back, really intrigued into it.
Yeah, I have not
Um,
played any of the earlier seasons prior to season 9.
I would consider it, I think, so we got eliminated by a pump shotgun, one of the most detrimental weapons in this game.
It sure is.
Um, I think, to be honest, I know you prefer, you dedicate a lot of time into Fortnite right now, especially in recent years. I think the latter seasons are pretty. I think the earlier seasons are pretty still my favorite because those were when everybody, you feel like there was no dominant players still. There was
Right, right.
you wouldn't get into try hard lobbies every game,
Yep, I wish I could go
and it
back and
was
play the earlier seasons.
yeah. I didn't consider it. I like the old map, especially the season 3 and season 4 map. Those were kind of one of my favorites. I just don't. Um I'm just not a big fan of the alternating just map every time. There's a lot of there's PUBG. Miramar is still Miramar. They haven't changed it. Erangel is still Erangel. They don't change maps every they add new maps, but they don't alter it too much.
Right.
I think Apex did the same thing too.
Yep.
But I don't know. It's just not a big fan of the new locations. And they just keep adding and removing and adding. It's just they don't do that in other Battle Royale games. But that's kind of what got me disinterested in the game because again, first thing there was other games at the time I wanted to play. Fortnite, I was just not talented anymore. I just kept losing, and then that's just kind of what got me disinterested, kind of the Battle Royale genre overall. But we're getting back into it. What what game do you consider the most influential for the Battle Royale genre?
I think Fortnite is the most influential game in the Battle Royale genre because prior to um, Fortnite, that's really when the battle royale games really came out and really just exploded. And I think it's because of Fortnite, its popularity, that other games are trying to build on that. And I think Fortnite is was the one of the most influential, if not the most influential, games in the battle royale genre.
Especially how it's like deep history. I gotta go with something different. I think we're like I would, yeah, Fortnite because of its blow up, but I would consider a game that kind of really made it big. And I think it's just H1Z1 and like either
Okay.
H1. I don't know. I'm not really. I really don't know that much of the game. I'm just doing this all blind. Um, but I really don't know like the insights. But I understand where game is. I think you gotta go H1Z1 DayZ. Those are kind of two games that really sparked something.
Hmm.
Like a concept that, like without those, you wouldn't see PUBG in a mix. You wouldn't, maybe wouldn't see it. That was first game. Although it was a different style. It wasn't really heavily, maybe H1Z1 was played a lot, but days, but it wasn't this booming popular. Like it wasn't. It was just another game concept, another concept that could work. And then it just, started growing. And you saw, and then it's Fortnite got created, PUBG got created, and boom.
That's
But
true.
I
I mean,
just
Fortnite definitely because I mean Fortnite was around prior to Battle Royale. You had Save the World, which nobody heard of, and prior to Battle Royale in Fortnite. So I had a buddy who played Fortnite when it was and Save the World, and he didn't play. He has not played Battle Royale because he really enjoys the Save the World. Me, I've never played Save the World, never, not a single time.
I don't have the money for it. I'm not paying like 20 bucks to play something that I can play for free in the Battle Royale version.
Yep, exactly. That's
Um,
I'm think the
so
same way.
so it's just something that, and also this is the one big thing you have to again, it's a lot of concepts do come into play from those H1Z1 DayZ games, but you gotta be also with. I do respect the answer for Fortnite because it's how its popularity it sparked a lot of national media attention. It created celebrities, Ninja, Doctor Disrespect.
Yep.
Um, we're going a lot of names there. Tim the Tatman. I
Oh
know he
yeah,
was popular
and
before then.
yeah, it's names that you've never heard of before Fortnite became big. And just like what they're doing now with season 2 hype, it's all over the entire world. I mean, Fortnite has captured the imagination of everybody.
I think
It's
also
just
you have to go with the fact that this is the most. I know it's a shooting game, people, but it is very. I think just because of its style, how it's cartoon-like, it
mhm.
fits perfectly for the kids.
It does.
Um,
It really does.
so people have to realize the effect that has for kind of the younger population, especially how you got interested in Fortnite or how you, even if you probably heard it before, you started really playing devotedly,
Oh yeah,
knowing
exactly. Because
how
they
could be.
all they did was just not stop talking about Fortnite. I'm like, what is Fortnite? What are you talking about? And I didn't get into it for a while. And now I wish that I have because I really enjoyed the gameplay. But I can't go back on that, so I just have to move forward and grind these seasons and continue to get better with what I got.
That's right. It's I don't know. It's a hard game. I think it's also I hard game to kind of strat. I think it's kind of hard game to kind of really get better on. Yeah, you can get better in building,
Mhm.
but like otherwise you can't really get better.
Right.
So, but you could look at another game, DayZ. That's a game where you can always improve your battle royale thing because of how diverse without that 3D effect of movement, which you have with Fortnite. Um, and that's without the concept. That's what Fortnite did. They took a different twist on including 3D movement,
They
which
did.
hasn't with the building. So that's what you gotta look into it. So next question I have for you is, although these aren't these games, wait, Sorry, my words are jumbled. Although these aren't labeled as battle royale genre games, but would you consider Tom Clancy Division or Escape from Tarkov to be partially battle royale based?
I agree. I agree with that. I think they're partially battle royale based games. I completely agree with that. 100%.
How could what could what concepts from the game do you think um kind of contribute to that, especially if it's not portrayed as off the rip?
Well, I think it's similar to, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, but I think it's kind of considered, or almost similar to GTA, Grand Theft Auto. You know, a lot of people don't consider Grand Theft Auto as a battle royale game, but if you think about it, it kind of is because you're in a large map with a bunch of people who you're trying to eliminate. Yeah, you may not be you want to be the last man standing or to win, but it definitely has that battle royale vibe.
That's a very interesting point how you mentioned GTA because that's a game I wouldn't think it would be.
No,
It's
but
it's a
it,
but it's a little different.
yeah, but it has, like I said, it has that vibe to it because it may not be considered a battle royale game, but the concept is still the same. You're wanting to kill each other. Yeah, you respawn, but you know, I think that GTA is partially could be potentially a battle royale game.
Very interesting on that. Yeah, it's a little bit different perspective. I'm not gonna disrespect it, even if I my son might call it crazy. Maybe it could be if you do like a setup like custom lobby. There's a lot of game. I play a lot of GTA. I probably know a lot about the game, but
Oh, I'm
there's a
sure
lot
you
of game
do.
modes who you do contribute to that. There was last team standing, but that's like kind of search and destroy, TDM kind of esque. So that doesn't kind of what search and destroy is in like Fortnite right now.
Hmm.
Um, it's a game called Slasher. Um, I know that doesn't really count. I know it's one person against a couple, so it can kind of be acting as a barrier. Um, any kind of free for all game. I think any game that kind of attributes free for all could be considered battle royale.
Correct.
Um, I wouldn't consider like no, I don't want to consider a team based game mode, like like TDM or something like that. Um, because again, free for all, you're trying to win to go to the top. Although you do respawn. Um,
Hmm.
Again, it's a little bit different. I do like your concept again. There is multiple concepts in video games that do kind of could relate to battle royale genre, but it wasn't. Um, Also, kind of, can you explain like how Escape from Tarkov works? If you do kind of know what it's like, if you kind of know it a little bit.
I only
From
know it from gameplay. I've never actually played the game myself. I've watched Shroud play the game, and I really don't know enough to speak to it. I just know a little bit of the gameplay and just watched some gameplay, but I've never played it myself,
so
unfortunately.
from what you, I'm not expecting you to kind of play it because that's kind of more PC based, but it might be Xbox. I don't know if it's on Xbox or not. I don't remember.
I don't know.
It's like from what have you seen from the gameplay? Like, is there like maybe a couple word description or something like that from what you've seen? Like, what are the streamers trying to do?
It seems like they're either escaping, either like a prison, that could be based in Russia or that kind of vibe to it. Maybe you're like a prisoner or a prisoner of war, and you're trying to escape. Um, that's really kind of what I get because it's based on maps and points, and you want to get to this point before a certain time, and you need to escape or get to this point before a certain time that I've noticed. So that's kind of really what I kind of picked up from the little bit of gameplay I've watched.
From I probably seen them. I had to watch the trailer to understand because I wanted to get this question down. But from what I've seen, it's kind of really. like there's NPC. I think the big difference to why maybe I could not be partially. Your mic's echoing too. While we're talking. Um, while I'm mentioning, it's kind of where it's like a lot of NPCs. So you're not versing against player on player, player
Mhm.
versus player every time. You're gonna have a lot of NPCs in the way, and you gotta try to escape from that. While you also do have players on there too. Um,
Okay.
so that's from what I don't know. That's kind of what I saw from a couple of people's gameplay. Um, but otherwise, kind of nothing special. It's again the game. The problem is there's sometimes no ending. So you
Ah,
know how you go from this game. You have like no you have always circles closing every 3 minutes. The circle closes.
right.
Um, you don't have that in Tarkov. It's easier. You just have to escape. Even if you're sometimes by yourself. Um, and that's kind of different. Um, but again, that's how they want to design the game. So, um, have you played the Division or
No. No, I
ever
have
heard of
not.
the Division?
I've heard of Division. I've never played it.
Oh,
I
so
the
I
games that I play are either sports games, or Fortnite. That's really the only. Um, Fortnite is the first, like I said, first battle royale game I played. But Divisions, I've heard of it, but I've never played it. And I played GTA.
so I think this one relates more. I think this game over. I think the Division. You know, it has more. I think has a lot of concepts based on it. First thing, you always, even if you're not. So there's. I'm gonna explain it to you. So it's the regular story mode and the dark zone.
Okay.
Um, so regular story mode, you basically, you do the story missions, and if you keep going up in level and all that, and you always try to, you always get tougher enemies, so you have to get better loot, you have to buy guns and all that. So it's kind of similar to, very similar to other battle royales, where you always have to upgrade your weapons. Um,
Okay.
you can upgrade your character and all that. There's no ending. Actually, there's no ending because so you always have to get better weapons and all that. So you always want to find better weapons so you can fight those enemies. Again, there's no PVE in that. Sorry, PvP um like stuff in that version for the story mode part. And then so you can always want to prove so and then you go into the dark zone where there is a basically that's where you can find the best loot. So it's the hard zone, but you have to extract all the loot. And since all the stuff that all the upgrade weapons, the nice, beautiful stuff that you can use for future stuff is always upgraded. Um, always nice stuff. You always have to extract it because it's contaminated. That's the word I'm trying to say.
Mm.
So you always have to extract the stuff, and while it's happening, you either have you have like regular players chase after you to try to kill you and not extract the loot um or sorry, I took a kill. Or you could just try and survive, and you also got NPCs chasing after you between each extraction. So there's I think that's just where I don't know if Tarkov really does that. But I think more the concept of getting better loot is the big thing for the Division. I think that's a game that kind of really relates to it, even if it's not described as it firsthand. So, next question I have for you is this is something that could be popular in the future, could be really known, but could there be do you think it's possible that we see a more than 100-player battle royale game in the future, in upcoming years? And what battle royale game or rumor game will kind of do you think will introduce this concept? So like over
Um,
100-player battle royale.
I think that we will see an over 100-player battle royale. I think it would have to be something that has maybe not as good of graphics as like Call of Duty, but more of graphics based on like Fortnite, because you don't want to have that big of strain on the servers and the, your, I guess the word I'm trying to say is, um, anyway. So I think Fortnite may or may not be the one to come out with that. Um, it may be. I don't see PUBG or Call of Duty to come out with a game like that. It could be an unknown at this point. I don't know. That's really a good question. I'm trying to think on. That was one question I was really dwelling on, because I don't know if I have a complete answer there. You just, you have other battle royale games, um, like Realm Royale, it's very similar to Fortnite, but you have upgraded, or you can upgrade your character. So they might, down the road come up with more than 100 um, battle royale player. Or could be Fortnite. I mean, I guess it's really. What do you think? Do you think it's Fortnite, or do you think it's going to be something different?
I I think it matters. Like, what do you? Okay, let me. Well, I'll talk about that. What games could have concept. But what do you think could be a limiting factor, and what factors do you think will not try to induce the 100-player battle royale? Like, what could discourage the possibility of that happening?
Servers. Servers is the big thing, because look at Call of Duty servers, and not saying they're always the ones who have the issues, but they seem like they have major issues, because I feel that their graphics are stronger or harder to generate into the servers. So that's the big thing that we have to overcome first, is how are we going to get all these players into these servers and also generate the game. So that is a problem that we have to overcome first before we can move on to more than 100-player battle royale game.
And also one more thing. How do you think, even if you add more players, what will be like? How would you expect everything to kind of go? Like, like, what would you expect the play style to be, the meta, or like, you know, to be like?
Extremely fast paced. I mean, we think Fortnite is a fast paced game, but I think if you add 100 people, there's now 200 people in a match. You're going to have bigger battles quicker into the game before you can loot up, or upgrade your weapons, or what you need to do to get ready for prepare for this big battle at the end that you're accustomed to. You're going to see a lot of those battles early on in the matches, and a lot of people are going to get frustrated quicker if you add more players. If you add more players, you're going to increase your chance of not surviving.
How would you, like, if you have the, how would it work in in this game, even would in this game without the map change? If the map
Hmm.
never changed.
Well, if the map never changed, then you would definitely be accustomed to the map, and you would learn the layout um, more than what you could get the layout now. So that could be to your advantage. You would know where you could hide. You would know where the loot is at. So in this game, I think that if the map never changes, that would help you get better at this game, even if you have more than 100 people in a match. Changing the map, it at first will decrease your chances of survival, because you're getting used to the new map. But if it never changes, you can grind this game 24/7, and it never changes the map. Then you're gonna know where you can snipe. You're gonna know where all the loot is, because if that map never changes, then the loot will never change in the location. So I don't know if by keeping the map the same is the answer, because that's where you get a lot of new players, is from changing the maps and keeping the maps different. and adding the excitement and all that into a new map. You would add that all in. I think ultimately Fortnite would lose players if they did that.
What if okay? What game do you think will benefit the most?
Um,
Like if you had a
I think if Call of Duty can figure it out, because Call of Duty has a huge following and it's been around a lot longer than Fortnite. If Call of Duty can figure out the server problem and get that under control, I think Call of Duty would have the edge on Fortnite if they were able to add more players into the map. Because of Call of
it's been
Duty's
rumored.
huge following that they've had. Yeah, it's been rumored. So I think that they are working. I mean, it's a slow process though, because like I said, you have to add all of that in. I don't know, but yeah, I think Call of Duty would be the most beneficial from it.
Especially kind of what we kind of I seen from like the post trailer and all that. I think PUBG could. I wouldn't go Call of Duty because of how like Blackout. I don't know Blackout wasn't that bad. But I think PUBG could work out the most, especially knowing how you mentioned I think earlier how slow
Hmm.
PUBG was.
True.
You know,
Very true.
I think that would be the most beneficial. I wouldn't go with the number 200. Also, we didn't, 200 yet. That's the thing. But I think we go with 150. I think that's a good number to go with.
Hmm.
That's if you're gonna go for something high, that's a perfect number.
It
Nothing
is.
too low where it just feels the same, but nothing too
Mhm.
high where it just feels like it's too chaotic. I think that's a good number to go with. You gotta mix it both. Um, I don't know how I don't know what they're gonna expect out of Call of Duty, especially how long it took to download the new season 2 update. If you include and especially how highly graphic the game is, I don't know how it's gonna work. But PUBG, I think it's a game to work with because again, it's not really that high graphic.
No,
And
exactly.
also the
You're
maps.
exactly
So
right.
so that's a game I would expect to go. Next question I have for you is which battle royale game do you think will have the most amount of tremendous growth in 2020?
I'm going with Fortnite with that one. With season two coming out, with the hype from season two, and all the hype from chapter one or chapter two, season one. Now we got season two coming out here in a few days. I think they're going to have a bigger growth this year than all the other battle royale games, just because of the hype that they can build into each season. That's going to continue to build this year.
Even I
It's going to be, I hate to say this, no pun intended, but it's going to be an epic year for Fortnite. I just have that feeling.
It's kind of yeah. I think still it does make sense because it's a game that still has the popularity even
It,
if a
it
lot of you still have the a lot of the population.
you do.
And again, kids
And
still play it, and especially if more and more kids,
it's all
kids
about
really don't want to
marketing.
play.
It's all about the
Yep,
marketing, and right now they have the edge.
and that's kind of what made like Fortnite kind of good too because of how it's marketed, and especially having that ninja skin released about a month ago. It was very big, and people want to expect more out of them. People want to buy more skins, and just a
Hmm.
lot of money coming out of them. So
Oh yeah, if the
it's very
money's
smart.
coming in, they're going to continue doing it.
I gotta go
That's
with.
just,
I think I gotta go with Apex Legends.
yeah,
I think
I
that's
can see
a
that.
game. It's a game that makes a lot of sense. You know, they just released a new season. I think a week ago, if I'm right.
Correct.
Week or two ago, and it's very it's a very simple. It's first thing. It's very easy to unlock. Well, it's very quick pace. And especially with how Apex Legends, even if it was created by EA, who hasn't created really many great games, and also with the server issues,
Mm.
this one's a big hit, and not a lot of complaints, like about it. I think it's a very easy game for. yeah, Fortnite could be, Fortnite. But it's a lot easier because it's very standard. You don't just pick up loot.
Right.
You got movement systems, which people love more and more movements. It fits a lot those two players who like kind of futuristic games where you have those 3D movements. The futuristic Call of Duty's AW, Black Ops 3, IW, and all that.
And
Including
the
those
characters
concepts
seem
in
to
there.
have like a backstory. From what
Yeah,
I
and then
remember.
also the characters are like I think the big thing about Apex Legends makes it kind of different than PUBG. Your character you can have your guns to make you powerful. You also have the ability of your um character to um be special. Like every character has a unique ability, and that's what makes the game different than others. Because you can like your characters don't have extra arm. Like you got here's lifeline that can be useful for health purposes. They characters that cloak, move around the map fast. I think one of them's named Octane, if I'm right.
Yeah.
I'm wondering. So I
Apex
think
is very good
that's
for teams.
yeah, and also
You know.
it's also kind of more team based game. It's maybe more team based, but that's where we gotta go with it. And give you some good news. Sorry, this is gonna be a little interruption. Space Station Gaming. This is Rainbow Six news. Might as well do it in here. The North American powerhouse team has won the Six Invitational. So go
Nice.
North America. Sorry about that interruption, but I just doing it. So next question I have for you, since you mentioned about Fortnite, we're playing Fortnite. What was the impact for? What impact did Fortnite create to the gaming world once the Battle Royale portion got released back in September 2017? Even if you mentioned a couple times already.
Yeah, it's just exploded the battle royale genre. I don't know if it would be where it is now without Fortnite releasing it because of the popularity and other gaming industry, other game titles want to maybe not capitalize on that uh, popularity, but want to see what they can do to help improve or make the battle royale genre better than what Fortnite did. So I think they just set a precedence of this is what battle royale games should be, and everyone else you're going to have to follow what we created because we are the ones who did it the best first.
Do like that answer. Um, I this is I at first yeah it did the impact is it created more of an opportunity for gaming to be more of a career path. Especially even if I had to mention this 9 billion times, like the how many streamers have been up in the mix,
Mm-hmm.
the popularity of now celebrities being made through gaming. That if you would have said 10 years ago there would be no celebrities in gaming, well maybe you know now you
Right.
got many celebrities who do get you got Booga got featured in a Super Bowl commercial. Wouldn't have been a
It,
possibility without Fortnite.
right.
Ninja got a sponsorship with Adidas. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I don't know if
Definitely.
so. I don't know. Those are probably the only names I can find think of right now. That kind of have that big effect. But again, there's a lot of people who do. Many other celebrities. Sorry, those are the only names I kind of really think have that big social media aspect. Um, Again, you saw one of the biggest esports tournaments happened because of Fortnite. 30 million bucks, and there's some lives that have been changed
Right.
because of Fortnite that people would have doubted a couple years ago because of how small those prize pools were. So there's a big effect on the game. Also, with including a game that can be introduced to a child that anyone can play, no matter how vulgar the game might be at points. For other games, you know,
Mm-hmm. Oh, I
like you
agree.
go to, you go with PUBG, it's shooting, real guns. not. It's very depressing setting. You know, you go to ape. Well, maybe probably controller stop there. Um, Call of Duty shooting blood. That hasn't really provoked a lot of the public to recognize this as a positive for video games.
Right.
And I know this, there's stages where, and you got Fortnite, and Apex Legend, which we're going to probably talk about Fortnite here. It's very cartoon based. It's something that kids, parents who think video game, parents who might question why, why would, wait, I don't want to introduce my child into shooters, into shooting games where there's blood on my screen. Yeah, let's do something like Fortnite. Let's create Fortnite where it doesn't. Even if there's shooting. Yeah, there could be parents who might still dislike it, but it changed. It maybe it changed the reality. It's like, oh wait, this is cartoon. There's no blood on my screen. Let's have that, and it induced a lot of the concepts. Even if the guns might sound funny, sound non-realistic sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't play the games, and also the concept of having that 3D movement, having something different spark for the battle royale genre is a big thing, and especially with the 3D movement with building, got maybe back in the day, yeah, shockwave grenades, impulse grenades,
Right.
all that fun stuff that other games maybe haven't introduced. Maybe destructible environment. Other games, some games didn't. You can destroy every item. And you can destroy basically a lot of items in this game just with your pickaxe. Maybe unrealistic because I don't think you can destroy a build. I don't think you can destroy steel with a pickaxe. But
no, I don't think so.
And but I think this is if you think a game that has defined kind of just gaming overall, this has to be maybe one of the top 3. I want to go number 1 in this as kind of the game that changed the decade. But I think this is a game that changed for modern today.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
As an overall game. So next question I have for you is, so we just mentioned about Blueguard, the $30 million tournament. Competitive features, making a careers and all that. So a question I have for you is, even wait, after I kill this guy so we get less distracted. What do you think of the overall competitive scene for Battle Royale games overall, and which one do you think is the best to watch for viewers? If you have seen any other competitive Battle Royale games, like
I think we talk a lot about Fortnite, and Fortnite. I enjoy watching Fortnite in competitive based because I look at it and I'm like, I can't. There's no way I can build the way that these guys build. I don't know how they do it. No matter how hard I try, no matter how much I play this game, it amazes me, and I just like watching people in competitive based games like Fortnite competing because I know I nowhere near can do that. There's no way. I can't do it. So I'm going to go back with Fortnite on that one just because I enjoy sitting down and sometimes I like watching it more than I like watching TV. Just because I just get amazed on how good these people are and how competitive they get. And it's their livelihood. It really is.
I think you're kind of right in that. A little, somewhat, well, a lot because of how you can. It's a big motivation factor at how you can be better.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the competitors are on PC, even if especially I think it's a big motivation for anyone who plays a controller, especially some players back in the past like Aiden, who was a very good controller player on Fortnite.
Yep. Have you watched? This might be. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I know this is on Mixer, but Ship. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Oh, I heard it. Yeah, Shippings.
but
Yeah, he
he
plays on
is
Xbox.
he plays console and he's controller, and he's really really good on controller.
Yeah, he's. I think that's a name I really heard of. He was. It's probably unrelated to this, but he was. Oh, I gotcha. Um, he was a very good Call of Duty player in the past. He was always grinding. Had a really good KD, so he had that natural talent immediately, and he
Hmm.
can. It's nice you get to show off what the battle royale genre can kind of really do on console, especially with how kind of talented he is.
Right.
And also another name that really popped up in the past, which I used to watch on Twitch was Pier, XBL. I don't know how much he plays anymore, but he used to be a very dominant Xbox console player, and he was a really good soloist player. He used to watch, and it was like impressive because he didn't even play it. You know how everybody plays on Builder Pro.
Hmm.
If that's that's the most popular setting because um, this dude didn't even play on Builder Pro. He played on like maybe the old school settings,
Oh, okay.
and so he played on that setting, and he was still winning and beating guys on the who do play Builder Pro. So I do like your answer. How it's it might be entertaining to more watch than kind of watch TV, just because of how talented they do build and all that.
Oh yeah,
And
and
it's
like you said, it's
yeah,
motivation to get better.
I gotta go with PUBG in this one. I'm gonna be honest. This is my different from you, but I really don't. Well, there's well, not a lot of tournaments at least, but I really don't. I'm not a big fan of watching like Fortnite esports because the spectator is just wonky. Like just when like whatever they show on spectator mode, like it just does not look clean, and it just I don't know. That's why I kind of don't like it. Like it's like oh it's just constant lag and all that crap.
Mm.
But I gotta go with PUBG. It was like you can see it was very simple to watch. 64 players, 16 teams, and it was the casters were really heavily sided. They were notice what the weaknesses and strategies are of each player and each team, and it was very cool to watch, especially when how spectator was. It was very easy to for anyone who hasn't played the game that much to understand it. Even if like I used and it was I don't know. I think it's just kind of how it was produced, how the spectator mode was, and that's going to be a big thing for anyone who watches esports. Um, and I think PUBG included a lot more strategy in it.
Mm.
The game with more strategy, kind of where every life matters. Um, especially how I forgot we had a circle. Um, how big of an impact movement the spectator strategy is. That makes the game a lot better and a lot more heavily watched by viewers because again you don't want Call of Duty is a game I play a lot, but it's like this maybe not besides search and destroy. There's not a lot of strategy in it. So
Right.
PUBG kind of includes more strategy, and Fortnite, yeah, is a lot of risks, but again, it's matters of how much you build, and that doesn't really induce like yeah, you can build fast, yeah, you can edit fast, but again, it's very inconsistent. It's hard to find a dominant player a lot of times in the battle royale genres. Like Tfue could be good, like one game, like, for one like maybe a couple months, and he seems like wow he's winning all these competitions like back in like 2018,
Hmm.
and then you go and then he's just not really good anymore, or he's not really that same player he was back in 2018. So it's just very inconsistent with how talented players are these days, and it's I don't know it's I don't and there's just a lot of decent I don't know it's just even the esports like how they included online tournaments
Hmm.
with the World Cups and all that caused a lot of controversy because sometimes there was cheaters and all that being into those World Cup qualifying games that cost a lot of spots. I don't know. It's just a game I really didn't really watch is esports. I didn't even watch too much of the World Cup when it was back in July of 2019. Next question I have for you, since you mentioned earlier that you do odd to play on console. Unlike other video games, do you think you're at a disadvantage or advantage if you play on a controller instead of a keyboard and mouse? Plus, do you think it's right that some of these battle royale games put forced crossplay between console and PC players? So, do you want
I'll
me to be
answer the last one first. I don't think it's
okay?
fair. I think if you are on console and you're up against a PC player, you are at a disadvantage because PC players, I think, have an advantage. I'm not saying it's easier to play on keyboard and mouse, and I'm not saying it's harder to play on console, but I think that with a keyboard and mouse player, you have an advantage that a console player does not. Because your movements move a lot faster on PC. You have a higher FPS on PC versus console right now until the new generation of consoles come out. And so that's why I feel that you're at a disadvantage if you're a console player. If you're a PC player, then you want that advantage because you're going to increase your odds of winning. And I don't think it's fair. I think that if you're playing a PC, you should only play against PC players, and vice versa.
I I I wouldn't call like when it includes crossplay in our games, Rocket League, Call of Duty. I really don't. It doesn't really make a difference because of how the game. It doesn't make too much of a difference. Yeah,
No,
maybe
no.
a
I mean, you're
shooting game
talking,
like Call.
yeah, like
Well,
Rocket League. You're not going to really care, right?
I think it's just more impactful on the games that have one lives and kind of, especially with I maybe PUBG. Maybe I go with a game like PUBG. It doesn't really have a big effect because you're gonna maybe you need better to be more accurate. I think accurate, but I think I gotta go on Fortnite for nighttime already. But Fortnite, it's a big disadvantage because of how quick they can build as compared
Hmm.
to, and you got more options on PC. Like you can keybind and all that. You can
Correct.
also do it on console, but it's not the same. It's just harder to keybind. Well, it's harder to kind of build on console. You can mess up a lot. You have a higher chance of messing up more on console. Even if you practice for 30 minutes a day trying to build, you're still not going to win a lot of your obvious gunfight. You're still not going to build fast enough than a PC player who doesn't even practice because
Right.
they have more of an advantage and more opportunity for buttons and all that. So it sucks that there has been that's been a case. But again, that's what we should expect out of it already. And I don't know if they're gonna ever turn up crossplay for this, but I don't think they ever would. So next question I have for you is there a chance that we are at the end of the honeymoon cycle for the battle royale genre games, battle royale genre overall? So what I mean
No.
by honeymoon cycle is, you probably okay. If you
No, I
understand
mean,
what
go if
honeymoon
you want to
is.
explain, you can go right ahead.
So honeymoon, if this is more to weddings and all that, or love and all that, is where it's like a pleasant period. It's like you're always happy, you know. It's always successful. Like it's never like you never fail. You know, it's basically like happiness, and it's like where you're not arguing. You know, you're not getting pissed. You're not like it's pleasant, or just pleasantry. So like maybe sometimes people play battle royale genre games and it's like, oh, I like this, I can get better, but over time, but like over and over time, it gets really on your nerves.
It does.
So, that's
I
a lot
I
of
can
video games.
agree.
So with that, like, well, you can finish. Okay, so you said no.
Well, I mean, and when you
That's
explain it like that, um, you can kind of say yes and no, just because it could be different based on the person. I think if for me, some days this game totally pisses me off, but other days is like, you know what, I want to get better at this game. I want to improve myself. So yes, I think that we may have starting to peak the honeymoon period with battle royale games. I don't think people are done with battle royale games though. I don't think we've reached that point yet.
What would be the case where we'll see if I'm not like, but we will see like they still have a popularity, but when will it start to have that mass like decline? Like
If
what would
you
need
know,
to
I
happen?
um
Like what?
Fortnite messes up or PUBG messes up, does something that either they for Fortnite, for example, let's say like we talked earlier, what if they decide, okay, we're never going to change the map again? I think a lot of people look forward to the maps being changed over time, and I think that's where it draws people back into the game. So if they decide one day or one season, hey, we're going to stop changing this map. This is the map you're going to get for as long as this game is around. We're not changing it. People are going to get tired of it. People are going to get mad, and I think that'll be the end of the honeymoon period, or maybe not necessarily battle royale games themselves, but it definitely could impact what we see in the future.
I would. I think that's. You're kind of right. It matters on what. Like yeah, you're right on that. If the map ever changes, that would I would consider that said. I think maybe I wouldn't like. I think a lot of people do like new stuff, but I think the thing is, imagine how the community acts upon it. In cases, like, would this be a mass? Like, if you do this, would this be the massive impact? And I think the thing is, the community has stuck strong, even if there has been a lot of controversial stuff in any kind of video game. A lot of video games, and especially in maybe Fortnite hasn't been really working well with that because there's a lot of stuff that got removed that people want unvaulted.
True.
Um,
But that could be where they bring people back, unvaulting things. I think, like with Call of Duty, has turned a lot of people away because they just repeat the same thing over and over again. They just change the title.
I
So,
would actually, I would. That was a good thing. I was gonna mention that, but I kind of deferred from it. If you like, you have all these new battle royale genre games coming out. One game name petition was um somehow got it, Cuisine Royale. It's very
yep.
similar to PUBG. So and then you got Realm Royale. You got Island Night. I don't know if you. There's a lot of games that kind of try to base it off whatever.
There is.
Trying to make the battle. So there's a lot of games. And if you keep inducing that, it's not gonna really be helpful. Like more and more games that try to imitate it, it just really hurts it. I think
Well, yeah,
hurt it
because
because you just lacking creativity.
it does. It becomes saturated.
But again, maybe it'll be a different effect. With it. As we're trying to see if I can get a win again, I'm getting like shot up like a Christmas tree right now.
Yeah, they got me
Um,
from the top of that hill.
so so next question I have for you is, what battle royale genre game do you think is the most underrated that you have like seen or played?
I think Realm Royale is underrated. I again, it's a game that I haven't played. I have watched and seen it being played, but it's more about abilities, than anything else. It's about your abilities and being different characters. So I think that they're I would say the most underrated of the battle royale games.
So what kind of makes it um like, can you describe? I might look at pictures or something like that. Can you like describe the game a little bit more,
Yeah, so
if you can?
it is. I have it right here. It's a um, the
We'll
biggest
say special
thing
abilities.
is that it features a class system allowing you to play as everything from a mage to a knight. This in turn means a lot more abilities. Mages can wield magical spells and throw fireballs, for instance, while hunters can wield bows. The class system also adds an interesting dynamic to team play, as you can form a squad with different abilities depending on the class makeup. So that's just kind
So
of like
it's a
the
little.
overall.
So it's kind of a little bit like Apex Legends
Yeah, it's kind of a
in
mix
comparison.
between Apex and Fortnite, I think. I would call it like a if Fortnite and Apex had a baby. That's what you would get is Realm Royale. Because like
Interesting.
Fortnite, it focuses on building, and Realm Royale instead emphasizes on crafting new gear. Just like in any other RPGs, you can find forges around the map where you can upgrade your weapons to improve your skills and chances in battle. Also important, while the map is comparatively huge, you get a horse to ride around on.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I saw it
So,
before. I think I was on
yeah,
Ninja screen. I was like, wait, what the fuck is this?
right.
I was like, it's a horse. Wow, that's interesting. I gotta go with a game that isn't like promoted immediately as a battle royale. It has to be Black Ops 4 Blackout.
Okay.
Um, I think kind of it's a very like the first thing they barely changed the map. Well, they did a couple updates, but it wasn't huge. It was they use helicopters, vehicles, a lot of vehicles. Um, you can have similar to PUBG. You can have attachments. The graphics were a lot better. Um, you know, I would consider it a more modernized PUBG in cases in a
Okay.
smaller setting. Um, and there was similar to PUBG, how there's a lot of spots you can land on that don't put you at a like you don't have to land at a big city constantly to get the good loot. You can land somewhere else and you can get like the same loot you would get at a big location. There's a lot of good small location settings, and that's really good to have where you can have other options just in case the big where you want to go and really doesn't go right. Um, you can also have perks where one perk can make you sound, one can be able to see equipment, one can help you with like if you get hit by a grenade, it doesn't have a big massive effect. You have multiple scopes um, that can make it be a big difference maker. Um, there's a lot of attachments. So I think this compares like more modernized PUBG into a popular video game series in cases.
Okay.
So
I didn't
I
even
think
think
that's
of that. Like,
yeah, it's something that you wouldn't like, and I'm curious how this Call of Duty Warzone will kind of act, especially with how kind of Blackout went. Um, well, now we're gonna get into the last two questions for the final one. What is the worst battle royale game you have ever played? Or what is if it's what is the worst ones like what you worst battle game you have seen or played? We'll go with that. It'll be a lot easier.
um, the worst one I think that I've seen, um, man, is I don't even know if you heard of it. It's called Rules of Survival. You ever heard of that?
No.
It's It was actually the first and most successful game, but it was on mobile only, and the graphics weren't the greatest. And I've seen it in gameplay for a very short time. It's not a game that a lot of people know of or ever heard of. Cuisine Royale, we mentioned that. That's another worst one. I think it's just a rip off from PUBG. Um, I just think they're trying to do what PUBG is doing, and I just you know that you've already done basically the same thing. So why you want to repeat it?
Did hear real survival. I gotta go with I'm gonna go with the Casino Royale example. One of my friends, like one of my buddies, like this game. I was like, wait, what the? And it's very incomplete. And you know how
Right.
people sometimes consider PUBG Xbox really incomplete, PUBG console really incomplete. This was
Mhm.
like total incomplete, and I didn't like this. It was like vehicles, four-person vehicles, tanks, the graphics were awful. There was hard to find crap half the time. It was just, and there's many crashes. Like it was. The good thing the game was free. Imagine if that was actually like you had to pay for that.
Oh, I would be pissed if that was a
Um,
game I had to pay for.
yeah, and it was just very incomplete. And I don't know who created it. And that was a horrible name for a game.
It
Cuisine Royale.
was.
There's no pizza on that. There's no. I don't think there's even food places in that game.
There
If you've
isn't,
seen any restaurant.
but you got pots and pans.
Yeah,
That's I think that's where that is from or what they're trying to reach for. Maybe I don't know.
but that game was just horrible. Um, I don't know. It's just it's a different. They're trying. I don't know. It's just a ripoff PUBG.
It really
That's
is.
about it. Um, Last one. This is gonna probably be very similar to everybody. Best battle royale game.
The best one I'm gonna go with Fortnite. Um, just because it's the battle royale game that I played the most, but they know how to keep everyone interested either by the skins, changing the maps for the seasons, um, just making it fun and introducing, like I said, the skins. Like Harley Quinn skin, or the Batman skin that they had recently. Is that to me makes the game fun because yeah, it's a shooting game, but having different emotes and having different um, characters in the game kind of spices up the game a little bit and it keeps it interesting. So I think Fortnite to me is the best one.
I'm going with Blackout. I know Fortnite is probably the game I have the most dedicated time into, but I think it gets frustrating. I think Blackout's the only one where you can feel like you're not you're not always bad.
Right.
Like even if I die multiple times, it feels like okay, I can recognize what mistake I made easily. Like maybe I shouldn't push. Maybe again, it's always it's the only game I can have fun really playing solo. Like Fortnite, yeah, back in the day I could play solo. It wasn't an issue, but like if I play solo right now, I think it's just gonna get just not gonna be fascinating to me. Um, at the moment, so it's just the one game I kind of really enjoyed if I was playing by myself, and just kind of how simple it is, like very simple it is. Just get the loot, get your attachments, boom, close the circle, and there's again just how impactful all those small locations are to a map. It was a also not a big difference maker. So that's gonna kind of be it talking about the Battle Royale topic, but we got one more closing topic question for you, and this is gonna get your inner. This is gonna get your creativity minds of your brain on.
Oh,
If
all
you were
right.
to create this is a very interesting question. Again, if you were a game designer and you were forced to create a battle royale genre game, what would be the theme of the what will be the theme of the game you would try to incorporate in it?
Hmm.
So what I mean by
Wow.
theme is like what I'm not okay. Maybe I go like what would you like? Theme is like what like maybe cartoon setting, old war setting, whatever what would you try to let's say something like that, like modern, modern shooting, like modern realist. I'm not trying to say.
I
Um,
think I know what you're getting at here.
Modern war setting.
Yeah, I think now I have I like older genre games. Um, I'm not talking like war like 1800s or anything like that. I not like Red Dead Redemption, not like that, but gangster style. Back in the 40s, 30s, 40s feel. Um, this might be way out there for you, but to me, I like, and you really don't see these types of games, but a gangster style battle royale themed game where you may not be, it'd be hard in a battle royale game, but you would be set, let's say in the 30s, in a city, and you're either a crime boss or you can get different skins for you can change your skins to what you want your mob boss to look like and I don't know. I just feel that that may go somewhere, maybe not. But that's my answer. That's what I'm sticking with. I think an old 40s gangster style themed battle royale game because you don't see that. No one else has come up with that either because no one wants to play it or because no one's thought of it yet or anything like that. But I think that's what I would go with.
So like trying to go like Italian mafia, like if you think about crime
Yeah.
boss, like Italian mafia.
Yeah,
I
have
don't know.
that
I
kind of
forget what
feel.
game. So like a Godfather type of game.
Yes, yes,
The
like a
Godfather.
Godfather type game. Yes, yes. 100%.
Or a Scarface. Well, I don't know. Sorry, that
Scarface.
doesn't kind of. I don't think that relates. I thought it could, but that's like Vice and all that.
It is. Yeah. I think that's where Grand Theft Auto should go.
They ever did. Could be could be room to go back to Vice City in Miami. Um,
Yeah.
I I'm gonna go with. I think we gotta go with a game that's based off a city.
Okay.
I think what we haven't seen, how we see like all these maps right now. They're very fictional. That's not like real well, PUBG. It's a lot of fields. A lot of um. Just like this fucker real quick. A lot of like old buildings and all that. Nothing really creative, not realistic settings.
Right.
Um. So, but I think like you base it off a real city. Like maybe how I mentioned earlier the division. It was, oh, actually sorry, I forgot I mentioned this. Like they depicted a little bit of New York State, created a replica of New York City, into a battle royale game. Oh, sorry, into the Dark Zone area where you have actually city streets. I keep saying this every time. Um, and it'll be interesting to kind of include a different concept of where we can have like you depict obviously like imagine a battle royale game in NYC and
Right.
it was actually realistic. Like that would
Yeah.
be freaking interesting to kind
I
of see
agree.
how that works. Maybe Detroit, like maybe even that you update, like maybe you have multiple maps you base one maybe off Boston, London. Actually depict it off like maybe you do like a specific area, like you do Lower Manhattan. Maybe if you do a London one, you do like maybe Canary Wharf, which is like a high rise, a lot of high rise buildings. Maybe do one in Barcelona. Um, Detroit, maybe Miami. You have a lot of variety with how you want to incorporate the genre. Um, but again, maybe it's hard to do it because of kind of how strict rules are. Actually, no, never mind. Maybe how strict cities are to kind of introduce a game that kind of depicts off what happens in real life into a battle royale genre. Where it's like they consider all out war and all that in the city. I don't. Again, they did. I don't think it's concerned for Los Angeles with Los Angeles and all that, but I think it'll be interesting to actually include actual maybe don't move building around. Just show what it is actually. So whatever it shows on the whatever a certain area, say they do a specific neighborhood, it is the actual whole neighborhood unchanged. So don't include new high-rise buildings.
Mm.
Don't include pointless high-rise buildings that don't depict the area portrayally like you do. I think that would be a very interesting to do it. Also, you don't make sure you don't include any, you know, getting other games do this, but you feature the guns that feature in the game, like real life guns, like how whatever PUBG calls it. Call them by the actual gun names. You know, be interesting circles and even that you can include whatever depictions. So you just say you do it in downtown Manhattan.
Mm.
You have a lot of there's a lot of cars. Maybe there's some cars that have working batteries or working engines. You can drive them around the map. Realistically, maybe you can find a scaffolding. If you want to climb a building faster, maybe it's unfinished building. Some in Manhattan, you can climb up one of those those elevators on the side. You can use that and kind of climb up that unfinished building just in case someone's camping up there. Try to
Mm.
whatever depicted off real life. I think that would be very interesting to do, but I think it would be a hard concept. Um, and also interchange make sure you have multiple maps. Don't try to do New York City constantly because that would get very boring and all that. But
Right,
I think
right.
that would be a big thing you want to do, especially knowing how creative a lot of cities are. Or you just go with something unique. Maybe go with Cape and go with some random ass city. Go with
Mhm.
Perth, Sydney, um, Manila. Some cities that are not featured commonly in video games. Maybe Cape Town. You go with Johannesburg. Cairo, Egypt. Imagine having one part of the map you fight in the pyramids. Um,
That would be pretty
The
cool.
pyramids of Giza. There's maybe it's the really bottom corner because you gotta include the rest of the city in there.
Mm.
Um, Berlin. It's not a lot of high-rise buildings. Um, there's a lot of air you can do Switzerland if you want to. You do all Vienna, um, Paris, maybe the downtown district of Paris. Maybe you have the Eiffel Tower in the middle of the map, and there's maybe you go all the way to the top. So you gotta make sure you scout the board because there's maybe a sniper up there. Like, the I think that would be a very interesting thing. Battle royale genre game that I think I would want to create because it relates closely to real life, and I think it's nice to kind of have games that are not based off real life, just so you don't have to think sightsee all the time. But I think it would just kind of create a personal experience for a lot of people who do live in the city and kind of who live in the country and kind of don't want to buy a plane ticket to just head to Paris and all that. I know people still have it
Right,
anyways, but
right. Yeah, I mean, I think you're onto something. I mean, I think Call of Duty tries to do that within their maps. They don't necessarily name it off of a realistic place, but it is set from a realistic place.
yeah.
So Call of Duty kind of does that in their maps as well. But I think as a battle royale game, I think that would be pretty cool.
Well, that's gonna be on the show here. Thank you for joining me, Psycho. Do you want to give any shouts to anyone before we end it off here?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Team Duke Stars, which is who I'm not affiliated with, but part of a team on Mixer. Mr. Marlin's 18. I'm going to get a shout out to him. I play with Mr. Marlin's 18 on duos and squads on PC. He's part of the same team, so I want to get a shout out to them because they help support me and help support my stream and what I'm doing and the brand that I'm building on Mixer. And just want to give a shout out to them and thank you guys.
Well,
And
thanks
also
for
to you
joining.
as well,
Oh,
Viper. Sorry. Thanks for you
no, it's
for
okay.
inviting me here and being a part of your brand and a part of your audience as well.
Thank you. It's grateful to kind of have someone who is really excited to kind of do something kind of out of their comfort zone. That's what I want to introduce to a lot of people. Is yeah, this might not seem normal for gaming. Like when you get into video games, you just kind of game and all that, but just to kind of talk about gaming overall and get them out of the comfort space and get out your full opinions. That's kind of what I want to introduce to all my guests that they can't be shy. Gaming isn't focused about being quiet and all that. Let's hear the voices of the community that we have built for basically on Xbox, but we can go overall gaming since early 2000s and all that.
Exactly, 100% agree.
So that's gonna be our stream. Thank you guys for watching. We don't know when the next episode should be next week. Might be one or two. But that's gonna be it. See you guys next time. Bye.